reporters from Asheville and Bunker.
From the newsroom to the nursery, we're juggling a demanding career on live TV with the demands of motherhood.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Karen.
They are AnchorMoms.
Hello, hello. Welcome in to another episode of AnchorMoms, the podcast, joining you from our new studio that is exciting. We keep making some changes, some upgrades, so we'll keep you posted.
It is fun. I mean, this week it's like even a different look than what it was the last time we recorded. The people here at the station are working very hard to make this fabulous.
Yes. Changes in the studio and the podcast studio. Also changes, I feel like, in our summer lives. We have been like back-to-back vacations.
Yeah. What's that song?
Yeah. Changes. I feel like we got to catch up a little bit, Katie, over the weekend. And before that, we were like, we didn't even know what was going on in each other's lives because I was off.
I got a whole new car, and I didn't even know about
Katie has a new car. Like she put up at my house, and I'm like, "What? Who are you?"
I know, and I was like, "I got this car like a month ago," and I don't know.
I don't know if you guys feel like this. If your vacation schedules don't line up with your friends, it's like can be a long time before you catch up again.
It's hard to be at work without you, by the way, because people are like, "Oh, like where's Karen?
Where's your other half?"
They're like, "What? You can't be here if like Karen's not here." And I'm like, "Well, maybe, I know this is crazy, but she does have like a whole life, aside from mine."
So your vacation was fabulous.
So
you have to like unwind, unplug.
Yeah. Yes. So we take this annual trip to the Adirondacks every year, which is upstate New York.
Upstate.
Like we're basically might as well as be in Canada. And I'll tell you, camping is a lot of work. A lot of work. The packing, the logistics, where we go, it is sometimes 80 degrees and then sometimes 40s at night with no washing machine, by the way.
Right.
So it's like you have to pack,
all the things. Like
T-shirts, shorts, sweatshirts.
I do have to interrupt,
socks.
though. I mean, you're not tent camping.
What are you doing? Are you suggesting that we're glamping? Because no. This is not, let me just tell you, this is not, we don't have any hookups. We don't have any water. We don't have electricity. We have a camper, but this is pretty.
Look.
I know, but I'm
just
throwing
throwing this out because we tent camp and it is.
But do you guys
tent
camp for a week?
No.
Okay. So we're camping for a week and we do have a camper. But I will say that we're using a shower house. It is pretty, pretty off the map. This campground is even pretty far off the map. I mean, but it's fun, but I would not say this is not some glamorous glamping trip. Sure. I just need to put that out there. I mean, I think even my hardcore husband would probably agree with that. Yes. But it's fun. River really loves it. We don't have any service. So our phones don't work. River doesn't watch her iPad for a week. There's no screen time for a week. And it's just beautiful up there.
The pictures are gorgeous.
It's like a different land.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's so nice to unplug and to just have only nature and the toys or coloring books or things you brought as the only options and just really forces you to just hang out more together.
Yeah.
I love those trips.
So, and I just will say this, so we do this trip every year and we go and stay with our friends my sister-in-law and my best friend from high school live sort of on the route in Hershey, Pennsylvania or near Hershey, Pennsylvania. So we stop at their house it's a 15-hour drive. So you have to stop somewhere. And I'll tell you, the assassination attempt happened on a Saturday night. And the next day we were leaving to go into the wilderness. And I was like, I am so glad that I am not at work this week. It was so nice.
Yeah, that was a big news week.
Just to miss. It was a big news week. It was. Yes. Biden resigned. The assassination attempt. There was like some celebrity deaths. Like I got back and out to the world and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This was a good
I'm sure
week to take
your
off.
sweet coworker, co-anchor was really
He was thrilled. Actually, I think, the good news is when you're on in the mornings, a lot of this stuff either breaks before you come in or breaks after you leave or when you're in the midst of leaving.
Right.
So I don't think it was any undue stress for Charles, but if it was, nothing I can do about it.
Right. Yeah. It's just how the cookie crumbles.
It's just how it goes. Okay. So your vacation.
Yes. We had our big family reunion with, nearly 50 Zatkalaks, for a whole week at the beach, which was so nice. It was really nice.
Yeah.
It was lots of logistics and planning and putting all the pieces together, but everything worked. Everybody was happy. We do this every other year, which I'm like, as I tell people this, most people are surprised that huge family reunions still happen.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to keep ours going as long as we can.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice. I will say the best part is seeing the cousins play together, our kids and my cousins' kids who are all similar ages, and thinking about when we were kids and we were playing with those same, it's just really neat to see that. It's in true kid fashion, they haven't seen some of these cousins in 2 years, and as soon as they walk in, they're best friends.
Right.
And,
like
do you want to share
right
my bunk room?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's go. Which Paw Patrol character is your favorite? Let's share, everything. It's really fun.
And
it's
you
really
planned all of it this year.
I did. It was my turn to plan, which was no small feat. But I think it went pretty well. I think, oftentimes there have been like ER visits. There have been like some pretty big issues, and there was none of that this time. So I feel like it was a win.
Yeah.
Everybody had a good time. Yeah, it was really nice. And it's just nice to be at the beach. There's like an instant activity for all age groups. The teenagers love the beach. The little kids love the beach. We had pool. Older folks love to sit on the beach. It just works for everybody.
Right. I know. I do love the beach. Brian and I always have this, this camping trip that we takes up a significant amount of our vacation every year. So frequently we took a long weekend to go to the beach with some friends couple of weeks ago before this vacation. And every year that we're at the beach, I'm like, all right, next year is the year that we're making the beach our big family vacation. And then I go camping and I'm like, all right, never mind. We're going to do the Great Adirondack adventure next year. Like it's whatever vacation you're in is like
the best.
The best. Exactly.
And it's the, old, which is better, the mountains or the beach. And I don't know. Gregory and I struggle with this one because we're like, if we ever win, hopefully someday we retire, it's so hard to pick. Mm-hmm. I love the beach. I love the mountains.
Right. I know. Brian can't survive at the beach, I don't think, longer than a long weekend. Mm-hmm. That's always he's like, That's
kind of how Gregory is. He's
like
not a big
pale
beach fan.
And freckly and hot. Mm-hmm. He's just, So I feel like I know that we're not going to retire to the beach. I'll just have to take old lady vacations.
We could switch. One of us gets a beach house. Right. One of us gets a lake house, mountain house, and then we're good. Mm-hmm. Can rotate.
Okay, we got that figured out.
Yeah. Phew. All right. On to some more pressing matters.
All right. Our first article comes from the Associated Press, AP. And the title is Competing and Parenting. Some athletes are doing double duty at the Olympics. And so this year, which is sort of a first, the International Olympic Committee set up what they call the first Olympic Village Nursery to allow athletes to be closer to their kids and have quality time with them during the games. And I didn't realize this, and I remembered this, but after I read this, but this seems like a long time ago. I don't know. Do you remember the COVID restrictions during the Tokyo Games? Families were not allowed to travel with the athletes, which I just think to myself as a parent, some of these people are teenagers.
Sure.
Or, you've been watching, you've emotionally and financially invested so much into your kids, and then you can't go. Or you're like a spouse and you've been standing by your spouse for this long and you can't go. Anyway, last year, they were saying that the last Olympics, the Tokyo Olympics, they were saying that babies couldn't accompany their moms. And then they made, a change that said nursing moms, the babies could come. But so this is sort of a first, this new nursery there in the Olympic Village. And what took so long?
Right.
What took so long?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. The Olympic Committee saying they want to ensure that pregnancy and motherhood do not mean a career end for female athletes, which is wonderful, but yes, feels like could have been said couple decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of especially females, of course, are saying this is a big shift in the culture. This is a shift in the right direction from the Olympic Committee. I didn't realize, the article talks about a lot of these moms, parents have to do GoFundMe pages just to raise enough money to be able to go to the Olympics and compete and bring their kids or their families. And you're right, you kind of forget that 4 years ago was the summer of COVID. Like COVID had just hit in March. So, you're seeing these video clips of the last Summer Olympics and everyone's masked and there's not anybody there watching. And
And I think they delayed the Olympics. I actually think the last Summer Olympics were 2021. I think.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yes,
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but yeah.
But still, there were still all
yes.
the COVID restrictions.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So I think this is great. I think, it's funny though. I was reading this article and thinking about this is so great. And then I was thinking, oh my gosh, can you imagine competing in the Olympics when you're breastfeeding, just had a baby, have a little, it just kind of made me realize, I mean, those are it's rough on your body. It's rough on your mind. It's rough on everything. I have so much respect for these women who are at such a level physically to be able to have a child and then turn around and compete in the greatest competition in the world. It's unbelievable.
And I think,
really cool.
To your point about having GoFundMe, trying to fundraise. Because I would, the majority of people competing in the Olympics are not Simone Biles and LeBron and Katie Ledecky. Like, insert the uber famous Olympians that you're thinking of that have sponsorships that have, are like a name in and of themselves. I think most of them are people that if you're not a fencer or a rower or whatever, you don't know their name. Like, they're not out there making tons of money on sponsorships and like cashing in. And so, this is a dream of theirs and a hardship and something. And not that these uber famous people haven't worked for this as well, but I just think just finding, I'm sure, can you imagine? I don't know what a hotel room right now is
in Paris,
in France, So it's just, the whole thing is amazing. And it's also why we love the Olympics, because these are people who are, they are at a higher level. I love the Olympics too.
Oh my gosh. It is, yes, to all of what you're saying. And also, not that Olympians are necessarily listening to AnchorMoms right now, but thank you to all those Olympians for working so hard, for giving us something to believe in and for a couple of weeks, for entertaining us. My kids are into it. I mean, it's as soon as it came on, just I guess a day or two ago, we have been all in, Olympic watch, what events. It's so exciting and it's so fun to just see your kids realize. And I was saying to Gregory last night, of course, I have no delusions that my children will be in the Olympics, but I do think it teaches them a good lesson about, especially when they tell, those little backstories about some of the athletes. They overcame this illness or this condition or had this injury and came back and now they're competing in the Olympics. It's just such good stories of perseverance, of discipline, of really working hard for a goal. And I just think we all need it. It's just a good time for the Olympics to be here.
We just need the Olympics, and you're not wrong. You're not.
Right. I mean, I just feel like no matter what's happening in the rest of the world and in our country and all of the things that we could talk about, let's just focus on the joy of the Olympics.
Okay. That's, it's like a PSA from Karen Zakalak there. Yeah. Just focus on the joy of the Olympics.
That's it.
If you're
joy of the Olympics. Turn on some Olympics. You'll find something fun. We watch skateboarding. We watch surfing, fencing, rugby. We're just watching all the things.
I love it.
It's so great.
I love it.
Okay, this is totally switching gears. I have a mom's the word. This is a little segment where we talk about something that we think might help other mamas out there. And since I would say every mom is probably tired. Every mom. This is a rare mom's for me because I don't normally have beauty products, but this is, and it's called Rare Beauty. This is the Positive Light under eye brightener. It's $24. It is amazing. My niece actually recommended it to me, which kind of made me laugh a little bit because I was thinking, well, you're a teenager. You don't have bags under your eyes yet, but
I know, but those like the Sephora teens,
she knows what she's talking about because this is a great product. It's got like this little like metal ball almost on the that you use. You know, the applicator is just very lovely and refreshing. And I feel like a lot of under eye concealers just have more of that yellow. I don't know. It just feels like it's great. It just really purely brightens your under eye more than trying to cover it up, I think. I love it. I use it almost every day. So
sounds
if you need something like that.
I do need something like that.
You go.
I'm going to take advantage of this, moms.
All right. The next article is from Motherly. Research shows American families are going into debt just to cover groceries. Oh my goodness. This could not be more accurate. This article says that 40% of Americans are struggling to pay the bills. And it talks about how inflation has obviously hit the grocery stores, but also restaurants, also extracurricular activities, also travel. It's kind of hit every avenue of life. So, I feel like if there was one thing that cost a little bit more, we might be okay, but it's kind of like everything costs more. So yeah, it's so tough. A study found that 11% of us, or 11% of people spend, 11% of their income is spent on food. Most people, 11% of their income just on food. That feels like a very large amount. Yeah. And it also says 94% of us are concerned about the price of food. So it talks to this couple who says, we're doing all the right things. We're saving. We have
full-time jobs.
We went to college. We're doing everything we were supposed to do. And we're still basically living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, it's really hard out there. It's funny. I asked Gregory, what do you think we spend on groceries? And he said, because he does more of the, credit card payment stuff. And he said, I don't have an exact number, but I would say on average, it's $300 a week.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a high number. And I mean, granted, we are paying for 6 people, but I also feel like, you know me, Katie, I am I like to say frugal, but I'll just go ahead and say cheap person. We're not buying fancy things. We're not buying all organic. We're not buying crazy. I just try to shop at Aldi when I can or Trader Joe's. I don't feel like I'm buying anything crazy, and it still blows my mind every time I'm at the grocery or get my Instacart bill and see just how high it is.
I know. So I do all the grocery shopping at our house. I do all like the food shopping and all of the meal planning, if you will, which is I want to put it in quotation marks because like I hate to cook and meal planning, whatever. But a couple of months ago, Brian was like, dude, what, why is the grocery bill so high? No. I'm going to start going to this other I'm going to do it for this week and I'm going to go to this grocery store. And I was like,
good luck.
Good luck.
Did you do it?
No. Are you serious? Are you kidding? No. Although if I really challenged him, I'm sure, me, I want it done. And so I'm right.
Let's do it.
Let's just get it done. But I was like, Brian, have you been living in the world? Groceries prices are high. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't look for it to go down. Is that what we're hoping for? Because I just don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, I legitimately am starting to meal plan around the sales. Such and such is on sale. Great. Let's do this week with that. This article says, and I believe it, people are dipping into their savings. They're going into credit card debt.
Yeah, to pay the
groceries.
Because
of the grocery bills. It's really, really ridiculous.
Yeah. I just buy the same thing every week. We eat the same thing every week. So I don't know if I could buy around. You're saying that and I'm like, oh, but then
it just involves more planning. And
then I have to think of different recipes.
Yes.
Yes.
But and the article mentions, it used to always be, eat in, buy groceries. And now it's almost maybe not that much more expensive to go out to eat.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about all the meal planning and cleanup.
I like that. Is this my argument to eat out all the time?
Yeah. I literally said to Gregory over the weekend, I am just going to say this out loud. When I think about having to meal plan and grocery shop and prepare all the meals for 6 people for the next, I'm going to say 15 years of my life, it's like nauseating.
Well, I just want you to know that there's only the 3 of us.
I mean, it doesn't matter how many people it is. You still have to make the meals.
I mean, I know, but there's not that much. Thank God Brian is not picky and could really care less. And River's 6, so she doesn't, she has her staples that she will and won't eat, and that's fine. But I can't tell you how much I hate cooking dinner. And I can't tell you, is it because I've gotten up at 2 a.m. and by the time I'm cooking dinner, I've literally been up for, I don't know,
so long.
16, 17 hours. And I'm like, I just hate it. When I'm on vacation, sometimes I'll be like, the best part about vacation is that it's like me, you're not sitting at home, like trying to like cook meals. Like there's either someone's cooking for you or you're going out to eat, or like when we were camping, my sweet mother-in-law did most of like the cooking.
That's nice.
I know. I was like, this is why I would maybe I should just live off the grid in a camper, but only if my mother-in-law could come with me, I guess.
Yeah, you'd have to bring her.
Right.
I honestly don't mind the cooking. That's not true. If my children are being crazy, it's really difficult. But I don't mind the cooking as much as the coming up with the meals.
All of it.
It's so like that part is just so difficult. And then people now, our big kids are, what's for dinner this week? And then they're trying to like chime in with like
what
recipe ideas and what they want. And I'm like, guys, but they don't understand that we can't have like spaghetti and meatballs every night.
Well, why can't you?
Maybe
could you?
Feels like it would not be the healthiest option, but
I mean, it's true.
You never know.
But I mean, if you need someone to tell you that you can have spaghetti and meatballs,
okay, thank you.
I'm here for you.
Also, I will say the price of meatballs has gone up a lot.
What do you do? Like frozen meatballs?
Yes. Oh, I don't have enough time to like make meatballs. No. But even that, like the other day, I was looking for meatballs for spaghetti and meatballs at the request of my children. I was like, wow, $8.15 for a bag of meatballs? Really? Whoa.
Yeah, meatballs I don't eat meat.
Well, yes.
And
yes.
I'll be honest with you. I think that might save us a little bit of money. Because
for sure.
Brian,
although, you don't eat much fish, but
I would say during the week I mostly eat like plant-based, and some like dairy, right, for a little bit of protein. And I only cook chicken. That's the only meat I cook.
Mm-hmm.
So poor Brian, but
but that's also way healthier.
Yeah,
we're trying to be
maybe
like that.
Cheaper. I don't know. Is chicken cheaper than? I don't even know about these things.
Yes, I would say chicken is probably cheaper than beef. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's if you need
certainly
a tip
meatballs.
On saving money, just eat I don't know, maybe
go vegetarian.
Go vegetarian. Yeah. Okay, this last article, y'all. What?
This is crazy.
What?
Crazy.
What? Okay, it's from good2.com.
Good to know.
Good to know? Good to. I just have good to.
Oh, well, there you go.
I don't know. We're going to link these. These are all linked in our show notes. So you can find the article yourself there. Charging for playdates. That's what this one mom is doing. Is it money savvy or rude? She's a mom of 3. The writer is, and the writer thinks that this is the craziest trend she's ever heard of. Basically, the gist of this is this mom hosts a play date, and she sends a Venmo request to the other children's parents, itemizing everything the kid has consumed during the play date: snacks, pumps of hand soap, the cost of the colored pencils. What? And so, of course, people have thoughts. And it is funny. It talks about how this article sort of starts with like, remember when it was like easier to keep kids entertained and you could just like tell them to go outside and like wander around and don't come back? Brian and I always talk about like, Now we just would never, we could like never be like, bye River, we'll see you in a couple of hours. Like that doesn't even happen anymore. And so now it feels like everything, like entertaining kids is like a whole event, right? If somebody hosted my kid for a play date and then sent me a Venmo request, I probably would never speak to them again, and my kid would never go over there again.
No.
Because I would think you're weird. There's something wrong with you. You're weird.
The article talks about how,
what?
as we just mentioned, everything's more expensive.
Then you shouldn't host a play date.
Well, of course. I'm not by any means saying
then you
this
shouldn't
is
host a
okay,
play date.
but how that's why parents are like, look, this is expensive times. Like, it adds up. Yes, this is absolutely insane. It also talks about how not only did we used to be more free with where our children can go and what they could do, but also the village was stronger back in the day. Everyone I think would agree that it was more of a let's raise these kids together vibe than it is now. Yeah, and it was more of, they're going to be at this person's house for a while and this person's house for a while, and that's just how it was. And it was, I can't even remember, maybe it happened, but I don't remember my mom even setting up play dates, right? It was just kind of like this person was in the street, so you went over to their house for a bit. They were riding bikes in the cul-de-sac. Let's do that. Like, I just don't even feel like there was the same amount of stress and logistics and planning. Now I feel like it's a thing to set up these play dates and what time and what day and who's free and are we doing it at someone's house? Are we going to a playground? There's just a lot more to it. It does bring up a good point, though, to this mom who's trying to charge for play dates. Meet at a playground. Meet at a park. Like what are you thinking?
Of soap?
Yes.
What?
This is insane.
This is crazy.
Honestly, it's insane, but I'm not super surprised. I just think this is where we are.
Like in my thought, when we host a play date, which to be fair, it's our wonderful nanny who will frequently, will frequently set this up. Like I'm thinking about that River has.
She's a play date organizer.
Yes. She's like the organizer of the play dates, which my gosh, she's like so wonderful and takes so much off my plate. But most of the time it's because I'm friends with the parents and it's like, let us help you out. Like River and so are going to camp together and then we'll pick them up and
they can have a play date at our house.
They can have a play date at our house or whatever. And it's like but also it's also because River has a friendship with these kids and I'm happy to foster that. Like she enjoys it as much as the other kid. So I guess like for me, I'm like, I would never consider charging somebody for it because we're getting so much out of it as well, right?
Of course, yeah.
And I think this article kind of speaks to that. They have an expert sort of weigh in, and it's kind of like one of the reasons you do play dates is to foster that connection with other kids, other parents, other people in your community. So like if you're going to do it like this, just don't do it at all because it's not the point of a play date. You've missed the point of a play date. But this writer does say, but why stop at play dates? Why don't we invoice our friends when they've enjoyed our hospitality? The book club gathering I've run over the years, they must owe me thousands. And it is true. Like, when do you start? When does it stop? If we're going to monetize everything in life, where and when do we stop?
Yeah.
You can't monetize.
I probably owe you for using your hair dryer this morning, Katie.
Well, I mean, I just was thinking that I just dropped River off at your house on Friday so that you and I could grab a drink with another friend and River played with your kids and your sweet husband, Greg, watched River. What was going to be just like an hour and a half drink ended up being like
couple hours more.
Drinks and dinner, and then he like fed River mac and cheese, and you would never think.
Fortunately for you, you only owe us, 17 cents for the mac and cheese box.
I mean, here's what I did think, and you and I talked about this, all right, we should let Greg and Brian, go out and we'll watch the kids. Like that's how I would reciprocate. Yeah. And I did thank Greg and Greg, if you're listening, I really appreciate you. You really were like solid for me on Friday. But if you sent me a Venmo invoice for like the mac and cheese that River ate or the water beads that you so kindly sent home.
I forgot about that.
With River, which I promptly threw in the garbage. And then the next day she was like, where's my water beads? And I was like, well, I don't know. No.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the whole point of it, right? Is what you're talking about. You reciprocate by sharing back, by then offering to help with somebody else's kids when they've offered to help with your kids. And it talks about how these are the lessons we're wanting to pass on to our children. Sharing resources, being generous. That's the whole point of this, is you're teaching them, we're going to get to know these friends and have this great time together. This is the importance of friendships in life, but also you're going to share your toys. I'm going to share my mac and cheese. I'm going to share my pumps of soap and my house and the wear and tear on my furniture, or whatever this mom charged for.
Right.
And this is how we all do this together. We share things. We're generous. And there's just so many lessons in kids playing together that is lost if you start charging.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So
Charging for playdates is
This is one
crazy.
article you got to read it. You got to read it. Okay, so I have a win.
Okay.
Okay. I wasn't sure it was going to be a win, but it was a win. So Brian was out of town this past weekend. Friday, I dropped my kid off at Karen's house. So that was like a win for me. While Brian was out of town, we went and, as I said previously, we had a drink. But then River and I had a whole weekend together. She slept in my bed. We had a Despicable Me marathon. We saw Despicable Me 4 on vacation. And so we had never seen 1, 2, 3, or like there's like The Rise of Gru, which is like the origin story. If I'm getting too deep on Despicable Me, I'm sorry. Anyway, we watched.
We've never seen any of them.
Oh, well.
Are they funny?
Yeah, they are funny. They are funny. I had never seen them either, but River was super intense. So we watched all of them. River lost a tooth. The tooth fairy came. And in fact, I will give this girl credit. On Saturday, she needs new shoes for school. I was like, let's go shopping downtown. Like, we'll get some new shoes. Maybe mom will get a new pair of shoes. Like, we'll go to those little shops. Like, all the things that we could never do on a Saturday if Brian was home because he'd be like,
not into it.
We'd have other stuff we'd have to do. And she was like, Mom, I just want to spend all day in my pajamas and do nothing. I don't want to. And I was like, you don't want to go shoe shopping? And she was like, no. So we spent all day. Neither of us took off our pajamas. And then we had to go
that sounds lovely.
We had to go pick up pizza. And we had to drop off some library books. And she was like, can I just wear my pajamas to the library? And I was like,
Sure. Why not?
So she did. And it was
like a glorious Saturday.
I was like, I have to give her credit because she was the one that was like, let's not do anything.
All the things.
And it was like I said, it was like,
no.
And she was like, when is dad going out of town again? Like last night before I went to bed. And I was like, I don't know. You got to talk to him. But yeah, it was such a fun, good weekend. And I sort of had a flashback to when River was little and when your husband went out of town and you were like stuck with the baby all weekend. Stressed, but also just like, I'm like past that. I'm having girls' weekends.
So fun.
It was fun. I feel, and it makes me tear up. I feel super blessed that I have this kid like in my life.
Yeah, to share life with.
Yeah.
It is interesting when they get to that age where you're like, oh, you're like a fun person to hang with now.
You're my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. We should enjoy it because soon enough they'll be teenagers.
Say it.
I mean, they're always going to be our best friends and want to hang out with us. Always.
And River did lose a front tooth.
Ooh, that's a big one.
It's a big one. And of course, the tooth fairy had to come. And I wasn't sure how the tooth fairy was going to get there because
you were in your pajamas all day.
I was in my pajamas all day. I couldn't leave the room. So I had to do some negotiating. Yes. But
it happened.
She came.
Great.
All is well.
Good. Well, that is a wonderful win.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. We hope everybody has some wins in their week.
Yes. A winning week.
A winning week. As you watch.
And it's the Olympics.
As you watch the winners on the Olympics. Go USA.
Go USA. Bye, y'all. Anchor Moms is a Sinclair podcast produced out of WLOS in Asheville. We're your hosts, Katie Killen and Karen Zakalek. Anchor Moms is edited by Matthew Yates.
For more information on the topics discussed in this episode and to stay up to date on future episodes, follow us on Instagram at AnchorMoms.
You can follow Anchor Moms on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Know a parent who could benefit from this week's Anchor Moms episode? Your recommendations help our show to grow, so spread the word.